So recently in Beaststorm Simulator, there's been a niche speedrun that's been getting pretty popular. That speedrun being the out of bounds world record. As the name implies, the only goal is to get out of bounds as fast as possible. However, you have to do it on a fresh account. I won't be covering the history of the category in this video because Hero V2, the biggest documentary YouTuber in the Beaststorm scene, is going to make a video on it, but I will show you how I got the world record. First of all, we need to look at the former world record set by Shmeviously, and it looks like this. Let me break down what just happened. First, he summons Windy Bee on his main account. Then he runs around and defeats it until it gets to the dandelion field. At which point, Smarty goes on his fresh account that doesn't have anything on it, waits for Windy Bee's blow attack, and then right before he's about to get hit, he jumps into the corner of this fence. Then, once he gets hit, his character bugs out and goes way up and above the map, giving him a time of 6 seconds. Now, when I saw this, I instantly started looking for potential improvements and the little things that he did to make it easier. The first thing I noticed was that Smarty spends a whole second waiting for the blow attack to hit, so there's an obvious time save there that could be made. The second thing I saw was a lot less obvious though. At the first second of the video, we can see that Smarty's avatar was tall. Disproportionately tall. I figured that this had to be for a reason, and I decided to try and replicate his tallness. By looking at the chat in the top right, I could see what the name of the account he was using was called, and when I searched it up, there it was, and his account was certainly tall. So I spent around 5 minutes getting all the body parts to use, and by the end, I had replicated it perfectly. Next on the to-dos was actually to start doing the attempts, but it turns out that this was its own roadblock itself. The best way of getting Windy Bee spawns is by donating a star jelly to the wind shrine. There's a couple issues with that though. First off, the wind shrine has a cooldown of an hour, so once you use it, you just gotta wait, and there's nothing you can do to speed it up. The second problem is that there is a roughly 50% chance that Windy Bee actually spawns. So that means you had the potential to just donate a star jelly, get nothing, and then you have to wait for an hour. And you didn't even get what you wanted. This actually happened to me on my first attempt, and as you can tell, I was mad. Anyways, the final problem is that if you actually get the Windy Bee, you have to get it all the way down to Dandelion, and you have no control on where Windy Bee goes. Yet again, another factor based on luck. If you didn't realize already, doing attempts is kinda a pain in the ass, and there's no person that will make this more clear to you than Smarty66, the world record holder. After he got his run, he continued to lower it, and he had gotten it down to a 3.77, which meant that not only was it going to be hard to get this record, but it also meant that he had figured out some faster route that no one had figured out before. However, with all the grinding that he was doing to lower the record, it was taking a ton of time, like 3 hours worth of time. At this point, he had used up pretty much all the alts he had access to, and he had gotten to the point where he started to ask me, and I was about to say no because, you know, he's my competition, but then I realized something. This was a perfect chance to see how he was doing these runs, so not only did I try and summon one for him, I also pinged everyone in my Discord server to help me, and I bribed them with a roll. I was really trying to get on his good side, and it worked. He let me stay in the server, and here's what I learned. First of all, he had his helper Frags, the current #1 puff player in the world by the way, stand on a very specific flower. Then he waited for Windy Bee to do his second of 3 blows. Now for the actually hard part. He was trying to time his jump so that way he would hit it right in the middle of the daily top leaderboard, and if all went well, he would get a good time. Most of the time though, he would either time the jump poorly or just straight up miss the leaderboard. After my studying, I decided that I was going to do some attempts alongside Smarty. After all, I was giving him these Windy Bees, might as well be taking advantage of them. So we did our first run together. For me, this was my second run. For him, the 20th of the day. My first jump hit the leaderboard, at which point my character did like 10 360s before going to the 15 B zone of all places. Then, for my second jump, I started moving at the last possible second, and right before Windy Bee was about to blow, I jumped, turned my body towards leaderboard, and then... I'm out! Under 3! Under 3! Under 3! I got 2.72, 2.72, 2.72. Did I get record?